Liana Arompido is a beautiful mother of 4 beautiful children. She is a certified nutritionist based in the UK. After the birth of their third child, Michaela, Liana's family life took an unexpected turn. Michaela was diagnosed with autism. Today, Liana is sharing with us her approach to her next pregnancy and giving practical advice both as a nutritionist and a mother. Hi, Liana.
Hi.
Today, we are actually very grateful that you found time to share your experience on quite delicate subject. And actually, if I think about, there is no better person to talk about it than you, even though it's very delicate, but it is very, very important subject to talk about. When I found out that my son has autism, I started to develop fear that I'm so happy that I have my son, and I don't want another child. I don't want different child, another child. I'm happy as he is, but I know that a child with autism takes. You have to spend a lot of time to develop him, to help him to develop, to support him. And I thought, if there is another child, I will not have that much time for my Adam, yes. And so I decided not to do that. And I admire those mothers, those parents that have that overcome those fears to have another child after having a child with autism. So my question to you, the first question to you is, did you have fears before having your 4th child after you had a child with autism?
Again, thank you for inviting me. It is a delicate theme, but I think I ought to share my experience if it will help some mothers to make the right decision. I am a mother of 4. My oldest one is 20. And of course, due to my age, when I had my first child, I was young. And I think I was healthy because, you know, when you're not in pain, when you're young, you don't really consider that you may have any problems with your health. So I had a planned pregnancy. It was an easy pregnancy in terms of some complications. Of course, I had this morning sickness, and I was thinking then and during 3 pregnancies that the morning sickness is okay. It's okay not to eat because you don't want to eat because you will throw, but that's a different subject. If after Michaela, I wasn't thinking about another child. Oh God, no. As many mothers, parents know how much energy and strength and financial part is involved with a child with special needs. It could be not autism, any special needs, any extra cost that involves your child. But when I fell pregnant, of course, at first I was really worried, but then because it was the time when I was already nutritionist, so I knew that pregnancy, when it happened, I was not in any deficiencies. This is the part 1. My thyroid function was okay. I didn't have any anemia. My liver function was good. My kidneys were working well. I mean, overall, my health was much, much better than previously. And when I say that, I was feeling better. I still feel good. But again, I was feeling better on the day that I realized and we found out that I was pregnant. Again, my 4th pregnancy was in the UK. So yes, I can share my experience with my pregnancy here because the 3 pregnancies, the previous ones, they were back in Cyprus. With diagnosis,
but it was not
everything.
Planned?
It wasn't really. I mean, we were not trying to, but again, yes. So basically what I'm saying is I was lucky because I am nutritionist, so I didn't have any deficiencies. But I will tell you in details what mistakes I did with my third pregnancy and my child with special needs that I didn't have with the fourth pregnancy. Um, so which what
Okay.
should I start first?
Yeah, if we talk about your pregnancy and your emotional state, your health, and your nutrition, what was different? Because you had two kids before. So, what was different when you were pregnant with your third child? What was different then, including your emotional state, like stress factors, your health, your nutrition, and how you felt?
Well, first of all, the difference between the second child and the third child is only 1 year and 9 months. So I fell pregnant when my second child was 1 year old. Saying that I was breastfeeding the second child for a year. Whenever we come to pregnancy, if any woman had deficiencies during the pregnancy, there's more deficiencies because you have to give to the baby what you have. If you don't
Yeah,
have, you fall down into deficiency. If you don't have, your child is being born with deficiencies. This is something that's very important that every
key
mother
thing. Yeah.
should should have in her head. Um, Again, as I was with deficiencies and I had a baby then, a 1 year old, most probably, and as we all know, they didn't sleep well. I was running after him. And if someone would ask me, oh, how I was feeling during my pregnancy, emotionally, I was feeling okay because another baby was coming. I had grandmothers around that were really into helping me. So emotionally, I was okay. But the only thing was that my husband then, because we lived in Cyprus, he already was working in the UK. So it was the distance. It was just the bitterness that I wasn't going to the ultrasounds with my husband. But he was, with all those video calls, he was there. So basically, with the fourth pregnancy wise, again, emotionally, I was more relaxed, I would say, in terms of my health. But
Mhm.
again, I was lucky to have a gynecologist with me that was with me from day one until the last day of my pregnancy. Unfortunately, in the UK and also in Cyprus, you cannot choose who's going to be in the labor with you as a doctor. But because I had, well, because of a history, because you have a child with special needs before, we managed to perform amniocentesis, which was performed on the 22nd week, where they took the liquid to
Mhm.
test for different genetic disorders,
Mhm.
which was like a key one for me to decide if I would continue with the pregnancy or not. So
Yeah.
yes, I did make the test that I could at the moment when I was pregnant. Also, during the pregnancy, we had some specific blood tests done, again, because I've requested them. One of them is a homocysteine. It's not many women know that the cause of miscarriages is the high level of homocysteine. Also, it's no good to have a low homocysteine. So it should be balanced again before the pregnancy. Um, Another thing is your thyroid function. It should work well. When I fell pregnant, my thyroid function was between 1 and 2. It's the healthiest, the optimal level. During the pregnancy, it went up. And again, whenever I ask women around me, if you ever had your thyroid function checked during the pregnancy, in 98%, the answer is no. You
Yeah.
know how important it is to keep that level in between that healthy range, because if you're not controlling that level, the risk of having not the child with autism, but the child with developmental delay,
Yeah.
it shoots up to triple or even 10 times more. So during the pregnancy, I mean, it's good that you fell pregnant. It's good because some women are having pregnancy problems to get pregnant. but it's so difficult to keep that healthy pregnancy also.
Yeah.
So that's the two key factors. And also anemia. You have to control anemia. If you are falling pregnant, having anemia is when you have less oxygen. When you have less oxygen, it means that there is no oxygen in your blood. It's not circulates right. There is no enough oxygen in your brain. And when you're pregnant, there's no enough oxygen in placenta. So the baby already in your thumb has the hypoxia, which means
Yeah.
the deficiency in oxygen. And the oxygen is number one for brain development. So it's all connected. And this what I was
Wow.
controlling every month, almost every month
Mhm.
with blood tests here in the UK.
But this is so, I mean, I'm just listening to you now. This is so important information because I just recall myself being pregnant and I had no idea about all these factors you were talking about. And I know definitely that we had a problem with this oxygen with and when there was a time when you feel your baby kicking in the belly, and then there came a moment when I felt nothing, and I started to worry. I told my husband, something's happening. I can't hear anything, and I know for sure that we had a problem with low oxygen.
What I want to add again is, as a nutritionist, I urge people not only mothers, by the way, this is something that I want to highlight because
Yeah,
the baby doesn't come just from the material from the mother, it comes from dad also. So the preparation, I would say, for this miracle should come from both sides.
yeah,
And there should be tests done from dad's and from mom's side. There's also another thing that to be ready for the pregnancy, I don't really urge you to be on hormones or on iron supplements because you need, what I would say, that find the reason why you have anemia. It's either your food is not rich in iron, it's either you have problems in your gut and it doesn't really, um, nothing gets in the blood it should. But another thing is when you're pregnant, you should take hormones if your thyroid function is not functioning right, because it's not the time to take the supplements or herbs. It's also the same if your iron drops and you have anemia, it's not the time to say, I'm not having my iron supplements because it's whatever. You have to think first about the baby and then about whatever that you will sort it out. Obviously, and unfortunately, the iron supplements that you will find in booths, they are not of a good quality. But this is another thing because there are different iron supplements that are more tender, I
Abs-
would say. I don't know,
yeah,
more to your gut because we all
absorb
know that
better. Yeah,
they can cause problems with your gut, with going to the toilet, and etc. 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 So you can get a consultation maybe with nutritionists to find you a better supplementation to get that iron on the normal health levels for you and for your baby. But then after the pregnancy again, if you're planning to breastfeed, you should continue supplementation because the time the baby is born, the woman needs double supplementation to recover from the pregnancy and to have the strength to give the baby milk that is full of nutrition that the baby needs. It's not that, oh, the milk has everything. No, it's not, unfortunately. And that's, I will also share my experience with breastfeeding with the third and the fourth child. I think that's very important
that is very
also.
important. Before that, I just wanted to mention. So, because I'm sure we have listeners, those that planning pregnancy and those that are already pregnant and have fears, like I have fears and other mothers, because is there anything, because for example, I was exposed to radiation when I was a child, and I know that my thyroid is not working 100%, but I didn't pay attention to that when I was pregnant. So I'm sure lots of people like me from my country, they also have similar problems. So for example, if I'm pregnant, or if there is a person pregnant already, what is your advice? Which test? I mean, we will not mention all the tests now, but we can put it down in the comments. What tests to give, what to pay attention when you're pregnant already.
Okay, the first one, and it's a very simple and general one, is a full blood count, just to see where you are with any infections if you have any. Second one is a thyroid function. I think it will be good if we'll just put in the comments or somewhere, so
Yeah,
it will be
yeah,
easy to memorize, but I will say them loud anyway. And the other one is a ferritin, just to check at which level there is anemia, if there is one, and a total protein, again, because you should have a normal level of total protein because the baby develops because of proteins. So these are, and also vitamin D. The vitamin D should be in proper levels, which is around 70, 80. And honestly, for my now quite a long work in this new industry, I've never had a client coming to me without vitamin D deficiencies. And when I say deficiency, it's like really, really low. Sometimes below 20, which is extremely low. So these three tests, yes, it's a thyroid function, it's a ferritin, total blood, total protein, and a full blood count.
yeah. And well, thank you so much. It's so valuable. But is there, when a woman is already pregnant, for example, I have my son's teacher, and of course she's a teacher helping special needs children to develop, and of course she's quite alert. So anything, for example, she should pay attention, like for example, folic acid or folinic acid or methylfolate, because we use it in, but everybody is getting this folic acid and they don't bother about which form it is. And how important is that? And I'm sure there are some scientific research already on that subject.
Definitely, definitely. Not even a pregnant woman that has a child with special needs, but any woman should avoid synthetic form of folic acid. We should all go to methylfolate, which is an easier absorbed vitamin B form. There's also methyl form of B12 that should be taken. There should be omega-3
Like
during the whole pregnancy.
hydroxyadenosine.
It could be hydroxy, it could be adenosine, it could be methyl. That's the
But
easier
not
absorption
yeah,
forms of
but not
B12. Not that's
cyanocobalamin that they
no,
sell everywhere in the drugstores.
no. And unfortunately, that was there was a tin of vitamins that have been given by midwife. And when they were giving them for free to any pregnant woman in the UK. And if you see the forms of vitamins in there, oh my God, it went straight to the trash or to the bin. It's not the vitamins you should take. And again, the well advertised uh, complex of vitamins, they do not have appropriate dosage of vitamins you need. Don't follow whatever you see on ad on the TV or YouTube. Go to the more professional ones. Maybe I don't know if YouTube, because I'm not really good in YouTube. Maybe I can advise you some brands that would be good to take. But again, it needs to be done through. I can't give you the dosages because I don't know you.
Yeah,
I
sure,
don't know
no.
your deficiencies. But there are brands that you may trust.
Yeah, it is very, very important, this information. And if we talk about breastfeeding, which is the next important thing after you give birth to a child. I was actually fighting for breastfeeding because my son didn't want to do it. So how long, I mean, was there any difference with your first two kids and your third child regarding breastfeeding?
Yes, unfortunately, breastfeeding is the best solution, the best option for a baby. We're not even going to discuss it. And it's also good for women to recover from the pregnancy and reduces the cancer and etc. etc. But with Michaela, from the birth, she had problems with her gut. At that time, I didn't know what that was, and unfortunately, pediatricians really didn't pay attention to my complaints that she had colics. She would cry. She was crying, and also, okay, my first mistake with Michaela, my third child, was she wouldn't take the breast on day one,
Yeah.
and she was crying. So the nurses said, okay, let's give her a pure glucose, which is not really the right thing to do because one, the baby does not stimulate your breast for the milk to come. Second, it's a pure glucose, yet she is kind of eaten and her sugar level is up, but that's not really good for the body of the baby and for insulin level, because why
Yeah.
to stimulate all this in the beginning? So that was the first mistake. And of course, I did listen to professionals that I thought at that time it was right to listen. Second, Michaela developed reflux. It was quite bad. She was like throwing out, and she was constantly on my breast, which was difficult with 1 year old. And he was 1 and 9, uh, because of, yeah, he was 1 year and 9 months. But again, I didn't have any problems because I wasn't even considering to switch into formula. But again, pediatricians told me that it's the breast milk that causes colics. It's the breast milk that causes reflux. No one ever mentioned to me that, what are you eating, mom? What are you eating? Because the milk doesn't come from nowhere. The milk is something that moms eat and it goes into
Yeah.
milk. Sometimes when, for example, mom eats too much garlic, garlic goes into milk and
Yeah.
the child may refuse to eat that milk. Sometimes, again, it's another thing and not many people know about it. If mom goes straight to the gym and then tries to breastfeed the baby, because of the uric acid, it goes up, the milk becomes a little bit bitter. So the
Oh, I didn't
child
know
may
that.
refuse to
Hmm.
eat again. So you have to just know some certain things. What I had to do then, I had to exclude some products from my diet. I had to be more careful with what I eat. I had to keep a food diary and see the reaction from my child. But unfortunately, I didn't know all that. And I switched to formula, which again did cause,
When?
she was 4 months only.
Hmm.
So she is the child that needed the breast milk the most, and she is the one that had the breast milk only for 4 months. And then we switched to formula, cow milk, which she is allergic to.
Hmm.
But hey ho, that was my problem. With the fourth pregnancy, I had a food diary, I knew what to eat, and 3 pregnancies out of 4, I was breastfeeding for 12 months. And again, there's another thing also, to breastfeed for 2 months is no good also because it may develop the child to refuse to eat solid food. And there are many children with um, some food disorders. When you
I mean,
ask
for too
moms, or
many
when
months, or what do you mean? For
too
like a
many moms, they
longer, yeah, too
continue
many.
breastfeeding because the
Yeah, yeah.
child refuses to eat solid food or any food. And they say, okay, at least I will give something. But again, if the mother breastfeeds child for 2 years without supplementation, and again, this is the mother nature. the mother nature didn't think of breastfeeding a child for more than a month.
Really?
It's the
I know
no.
parents for 3 years
No,
they're
there are
breastfeeding.
theories of mama bears and whatever. No, the child after 12 months, you should implement solid food. And when I say solid food,
Yeah.
it should be meat. There should be meat. There's no meat. There's no protein. That not so much protein. If you say breast milk to laboratory and see the nutrition fact over the first 3 months of a milk, and the rest, and after 12 months, there's not much left. It's just for drinking. It's not to get the vitamins and micronutrients and everything that the growing child needs in developing everything. There should be many more other products, fats, proteins in child's diary, child's menu, not the breast milk. Unfortunately, not.
Interesting facts about breastfeeding, because I actually breastfed my son for 1 year and 2 months, and I was aiming to do it more. And because I was actually bitten by a tick, which I didn't pay attention much, but then I had this horrible state of my hands started shaking. I felt constantly tired, and actually my son was quite constantly, I was breastfeeding like every hour, day, night, and I was so exhausted. I thought I'm gonna, die, really. And then when I had tests, just happened to, we had a doctor, and he said, it's not only your son has to give tests, you as well. And then he just put down this test for Borrelia, and I've seen that, high levels of that, and recognize
your high levels or your son's?
Mine, and my son had very, very low, but he had this Borrelia in his blood. And then, of course, I started treatment with antibiotics for 15 days at least. So then I stopped breastfeeding. If I didn't have this condition, I think I would have continued at least for 2 years. But I've already started to give him proper food.
You were feeding him for a standard normal time. 1 year in 2 months is a good time, because in order for child to develop, mom needs to be healthy, not exhausted.
Yeah.
There's also emotional part is very important. And also there's another thing. When the child is eating every 1 hour, it means that he's not getting enough calories from food. And because there is milk, most of the children refuse to eat another food because it's new. They don't want to try something new, and mom is always there. There's another also thing that, yes, there is an emotional part when you say that the child is with mom, like connected to mom, until the age of 3. But then for a good development of a child, there should be no breast milk in between, because it does not give the chance to the baby to separate. It's a separate child. It's a separate entity, I would say. And if you talk to moms that are breastfeeding for a long time, even though you can see moms that are alone, they will go, we went, we ate, we are going for it. But that's we. It's mom thinks that, she doesn't say me and Daniel, me and another child's name. It's always we. So that's the time also that mom, without even thinking that she's not doing something well, the child needs to separate. That's when he goes, that's me, I'm separate. And that's one step of development also. But breastfeeding is good. It's good, it's crucial, it's a must, I would say. I mean, I cannot say, oh, it's something, it's no good not to do it, because we all different. Some women feel that, it's not comfortable. It should be comfortable for mother. It should be. If it's not comfortable, mom thinks she's being kind of abused or she's good, then than
Yeah.
formula,
Indeed,
unfortunately.
you are right about this connection, because I felt that this breastfeeding is like extra connection with my child. And I was, of course, having a child, it gives you so much emotions and this new perspective of life and this overwhelming love. Because I don't think I love anybody more than my child. I mean, it's not possible. And when I had to stop breastfeeding, I had such a big, how to say it, when like a drug addict is stopping. I don't know, but that is my guess. It's
No, no,
like
no. It's
I
this
had
is how it
such
works. Yes.
depression. I had such depression. Like, I don't know, when you're saying goodbye to your lover. I don't know what I mean. Just I'm just trying to compare those things, because it was really, I felt so miserable, so depressed. And then I know that, even I had to sleep separate with him, because I was breastfeeding. I was constantly sleeping with him by my side. And then I had to sleep separately, and I was going crazy. And so I don't know whether it was really, maybe it was for good that we had this Borrelia, and I finally had to say goodbye to breastfeeding. But really, it was quite a challenge.
It's always a challenge, and most of the time when I have mothers coming to me with the problem that child doesn't eat anything or very specific products only, and when we ask what was with the breastfeeding, it's always like 2 3 years. The thing here is, again, it's not always that the child didn't want to stop the breastfeeding. It's the mom. It's the
Yeah,
thing that mom wants to be connected. Um, I don't know.
yeah,
It's a different story that we need to invite someone else
yes,
to
to
describe it.
talk
But there
about.
is
Yeah,
there is a different thing, and there's also the co-sleeping. My all children were co-sleeping with me. That's another story. It's the bonding, it's the warmth, it's the security. I don't believe with any child that crying out in the room is the solution to keep the child, to teach him to stay in his room. Some children can easily sleep in their room. I
yeah,
admire those children and parents. They're lucky.
yeah.
My children are not like this. They always wanted me, and Daniel is with
Same
me.
with me.
When
Yeah,
he's ready, he will move to his own room.
yeah,
Yeah, it is a different subject. But again, to give that security when the child needs one, especially the child with autism, when they don't have that empathy and warmth sometimes to you, when you kind of ready to give all your love to the hugs
yeah,
and everything, and the child doesn't really want it. Yes, we really appreciate, again, with my third child, she is quite a cuddly girl, but when she wants. But of course,
yeah.
I'm
When she
like
wants,
mom.
yeah,
I
that's
like
the
to
key thing.
hug them all. Yes, yes. So whenever she comes, I'm happy to share whatever with her. So yeah, I
Yeah.
am with you. I understand what you're saying.
And so we actually mentioned a lot of things about those who, um, like women that are planning pregnant. I mean, women that are pregnant now, and those who are planning pregnancy. What is some key things that you would pay attention for, that you would advise for women to pay attention for, both emotional and nutritional, and maybe some supplements and tests?
With the tests, because there are quite many, I think we will share them in comments so that
Yeah,
people can screenshot them. Even though, again, my advice to you, if you can't ask for these tests through GP, try to make them private, because it's about you, it's about your future children. Second, before getting pregnant, work on them. If you have problems with your liver, and if you have problems with your liver, you will have problems with detoxification. So all the toxins during the pregnancy will stay where? In your baby. Because that's the extra thing that the body, trying to survive, will put in somewhere, in something that it's not the body. So the baby actually is an extra thing. For why sometimes there are antibodies and the miscarriage during the 3 months, because the body rejects something new growing up in the body. Sometimes Even women had to get the medication to suppress the immune system, so that the immune system is not that aggressive and negative to the baby growing up in you. So what I'm saying now, the body should be in peace, should be with no deficiencies. As we mentioned, no anemia is number one. Check your thyroid function. Check your glucose. That's another very important thing. If you have high glucose, there's a very big chance that you will have a pregnancy diabetes, which is not okay thing to have, even though they would say, oh, okay, you may develop. Yes, you may develop, but if you're starting the pregnancy with high glucose,
which
you will have the other thing is, again, and this is something to consider. Maybe some moms will say, oh, I didn't know. When the thyroid function, when the thyroid hormone is high, so we will say above 4, sometimes it's 5 or 6 during the pregnancy, uncontrolled, the baby is born over 4 kilos. It's not a healthy big baby. It's the baby that is swollen because of a dysfunction of a thyroid of a mom. This is something I didn't know before I started all my studies and education. I was thinking that, oh, the baby is 5 kilos. Whoa, it's a big baby. It's a big, healthy baby. No. The healthy baby, the range of the healthy baby's weight is about 3 kilos, 500 grams to 4 kilos, 300 grams. There, that's a healthy range. Over that, consider if it's maybe mom put more than 20 kilos and it's not a healthy weight for the baby. So you have to control what you eat before pregnancy, what you eat during the pregnancy, because the diet differs from the trimesters, because the baby develops differently, and you have to give the food to you to get to your baby at the right weight, certain organs and certain trimesters. This is again something very important that is not really mentioned in the hospitals. They just generally say, oh, eat healthy. But what is healthy? They healthy in everyone's head is different, right?
Yeah.
So get the help, get the consultation, get the individual plan, baby, so you know what to eat, not to get confused. So the supplementation, there are basic supplementation. That's omega-3 is a must. You have to come to the pregnancy with a good level of B9, not deficient and then trying to get the double or triple doses of methylfolate, but to come to the pregnancy with a normal level. Again, with liver function, I did mention, if your liver not working well, if your bladder is not working well, you will have the morning sickness. I didn't have any on the 4th pregnancy because
on the 4th
everything was working well.
But not 3rd.
On the 4th.
Yeah.
Before I was thinking that is normal. I never had breakfast and I was thinking, no, I am the one that doesn't have breakfast. But no, I am the one that loves breakfast, that wakes up hungry because I eat the right dinner at the right time. So that's all very, there is an explanation to every maybe feeling, how you feel and how easy the pregnancy would be, but you just need to get that system in order, and yeah, everything will be. I mean, at least you will know that you did the utmost from your side, but you will need a good doctor with you to monitor how you feel with the tests here. Yeah, absolutely. Without tests, you don't know.
Yeah. The bad thing is that I gave in to all this. Like when I wanted hot dog, I went to fuel up the car and I had a hot dog. 1 or 2. I mean, I didn't bother, because it was this desire that was driven me. And so I think, like you say, we have to know that these factors influence the health of our child.
And also, I remember when, the saying, in my country, at least, they were saying that you have to eat for two now, which is
Yeah.
absolutely wrong. This is absolutely wrong. Not eat for two. Eat. It's not eating for two people. It's eating because of two people. So you have to eat more nutritionally
Conscious. Yeah.
rich
Yeah.
products rather than double portion. And
Yeah.
again, with your sickness, uh, it's the bile you had to work on before the pregnancy. It's number one, it's the gallbladder and the bile. The better bile is, the more liquidy, the less sickness you would feel. This is what I'm saying. You have to, if you're planning the pregnancy, start the planning 6 months, at least 6 months before. That's my kind of
Advice.
last advice.
Yeah.
Mm.
But actually, the bile, I'm so happy that you mentioned the bile, because when I studied my condition, my son's condition, and also studying with gastroenterologists and doctors, and I realized how important is the bile function. And we just, I mean, it's so simple actually, because bile, um, and actually it kills, bacteria, it kills candida, it kills, parasites. I mean, just the proper function of bile.
Antiseptic, yeah, in your
Yeah,
body.
it's, I mean, actually it solves everything if you think about it.
Yeah,
And
everything starts from bile. Yes.
everything starts from bile, and again, it is a separate subject which we will come back to.
Yeah.
But yes, bile is a key factor for our health and for our happiness, even because in our country it says people that have this wrong bile function, people even are more angry. They have this
Yes, they are.
aggressiveness, angriness,
Yeah.
and of course this
And depression
angriness.
sometimes.
Yeah, and depression, and it makes us angry, and it gives us depression, and all these emotions, these hormones, cortisol and stuff, they make things worse. So there's this vicious cycle that actually starts from the bile. So really, wow, it is such important information, and I'm so happy that you found time to share this. And if there is anything else you would like to add, I mean, we will put tests in the comments below, in the description. Anything else that you can recommend people that are pregnant, that are planning pregnancy, emotionally, nutritionally, because we actually covered a lot. Do you? I mean, you're
Just
like
to
a short thing.
summarize,
Go
just to
for that.
summarize,
Yeah.
just to summarize, if you have a child with special needs, if you're too afraid to have another child, that is fine. If you think that to have a sibling is a good idea and you really want, you have that unshared love you want to give to another child, then get ready. You and your partner, get the test results, be healthy overall. This is even good for you. You have to be healthy for your child with special needs anyway. If you're pregnant already, congratulations. Relax. You are doing the right thing. Get the test results again. See what levels, what deficiencies you have. And the sooner you correct that, the better. If you already had the baby, try to consider breastfeeding. If you are breastfeeding, get the test results again. It's always test results because they will give you the picture of what you are at the moment. Close that deficiencies, help the baby to develop well, sleep well, do what you think is good. But please don't cross the line of breastfeeding for more than, say, 14 months because it's no good. Try to separate the child, at least emotionally, with breastfeeding. Try to offer solid foods because this is about the development of the child also. And overall, if we missed any subject, welcome to comment. We'll try to reply. And thank you for inviting me. I would love to share my experience if it helps other parents.
Thank you.